Romanticism isn't only about candlelit dinners and heart-flutter moments. Though those can feel like a tiny spark of its spirit. It's a broad invitation to trust feeling, imagination, and the stubborn belief that life can be richer than a ledger of facts. Let me walk you through history's history of ideas, with a simple, slow heartbeat that follows love and wonder as they grow. Imagine a world waking up to the idea that truth isn't only what you can measure or calculate. Romanticism answers a different question. What if truth is something you feel, something you dream? Something that arrives when your eyes soften and your mind opens to mysteries you can't quite name. It's a movement that blooms across poetry, art, music, philosophy, and novels. And it begins at the end of one century and the beginning of another. It's not afraid of emotion, it's curious about what emotion can do when it's allowed to guide us. To understand Romanticism, start with what it reacted against. The earlier period praised reason, order, science, and universal laws. It asked us to trust what could be proven in a lab and measured on a chart. Romanticism says, not abandoning reason, but balancing it with the wild, intimate voice inside us, the voice that aches, hopes, and remembers. It's the voice we hear when a sunset looks different to us than it does to someone else. When a walk in a forest seems to reveal a secret about our own souls. When a love letter feels bigger than the words it contains. Let us name a few of its star ideas, short and simple. First, emotion is a source of truth. It's not that feelings are facts, but they can tell us what matters most, where our heart aches, and where courage might grow. Second, imagination is power. It isn't a dreamer's escape. It's the tool that can translate longing into art, into a song, into a story that helps others see differently. Third, nature is a teacher and a sanctuary. The world outside our doors becomes a mirror for the world inside us, reflecting beauty, danger, awe, and a sense of our place in something larger than ourselves. Fourth, the individual is precious. The unique mind and life of a person, with a private mythology, deserves to be explored rather than hidden. Fifth, the past is often a guide, especially the myths and traditions that felt older than the present moment. Romanticism loves the medieval, the distant, the sublime moments when human nerves are stretched and found somehow more alive. Wordsworth, a giant of this age, spoke of poetry as emotion recollected in tranquility. In plain terms, feeling remembered later becomes sharper, truer when you pause and reflect. Coleridge spoke about imagination as a force that can shape our experience, even when reality looks stubborn or dull. But Romanticism isn't only about the poets. It's also about painters who saw the world through a different lens. Caspar David Friedrich painted landscapes where the horizon seemed to listen, where lonely figures stood before vast skies, and where the mind wandered toward the sublime, those moments when the unknown feels both terrifying and inviting. In fiction and drama, romantic ideas grew into stories where love was more than a plot twist. The romantic hero isn't flawless, he is driven by longing, restless energy, and a certain reverence for moral courage in the face of danger. Think of the Byronic hero who carries scars and mystery, or the heroine who refuses to surrender her dream of a kinder, more beautiful world. It's not about perfect romance. It's about a love that grows through storms and longing, through choices that test character and reveal the heart's true weather. But why should a modern reader care about all this old talk? Because the core desire remains the same. To believe that love and beauty can change us and, through us, change the world. Romanticism gave permission to name longing as a legitimate disease of the heart, one that might heal if we learn to tend it with patience and honesty. It opened doors to personal growth, to seeing the everyday as a source of wonder, and to trusting that passion, properly guided, can be a compass for living a meaningful life. Let me tell a little story that echoes these ideas in a contemporary, everyday moment. A woman named Maya has spent years in a city woven with deadlines and routines. She loves her work, but the days feel like a line of identical echoes. One evening she wanders into a tiny, forgotten bookstore tucked between a cafe and a bakery. The scent of old paper and rain on wood feels almost magical. A man behind the counter shares a shy smile and mentions a poetry anthology that begins with a line about walking toward the light of a stubborn dawn. They talk about books and about small choices that can change a life. They don't solve every problem in an hour, but the air between them grows softer, as if imagination is stitching new possibilities into the fabric of reality. Romance here isn't a fireworks moment, it's a patient awakening, to notice, to listen, to choose vulnerability over safety, to trust that time, when gently handled, can turn ordinary evenings into something almost miraculous. Romanticism also found a home in politics and society, especially in ideas about freedom and the dignity of the common person. It urged people to care about the experiences of others, to see virtue and heroism in acts of compassion, in nature's resilience, in a village church, a battlefield hidden behind the hills, or a quiet street at dusk. It wasn't naive about pain. It saw suffering as something that could be transformed by imagination into meaning, memory into empathy, and grief into resolve to do better. So what does this mean for the heart today? It means you can be grateful for rational tools while acknowledging that a bookstore, a letter, a sunset, or a shared glance can illuminate the truth you carry inside. Romanticism invites a gentler courage, the kind that grows when you slow your pace, listen to the world, and let tenderness guide your choices. It's about reverence for nature, for childhood memories that still sparkle, for the idea that a life worth living often grows from small, honest acts of care. It's also about the power of love to endure and to transform, not by erasing pain but by letting love become the path through it. When we translate romantic ideas into stories, we find them in scenes of longing and a letter written in ink that refuses to dry, a coastline seen anew after a storm, a garden that becomes a sanctuary after loss. The themes blend easily into romance because romance itself is a practice of hope. It's the confidence that, even in imperfect worlds and imperfect people, love can be tended with patience and courage until it blooms fully. If you're listening and thinking about your own life, you may notice moments when you felt the pull towards something larger than yourself, an impulse to imagine a better ending, to rescue a moment from forgetfulness, to listen more deeply to another person, or to forgive. That pull is romanticism alive in you. It's the belief that beauty matters, that our inner landscapes deserve to be explored, and that love, when nurtured with honesty and care, can become not just a private pleasure but a shared resilience. As we look back, Romanticism's strength is not only in its grand portraits but in its intimate insistence that every life can be connected to something enduring, whether through a verse that sings in the quiet of the morning, a painting that captures a feeling words cannot hold, or a simple, steady act of kindness that proves we are seen and we belong. It's a reminder that happiness is not a single moment of spark, but a patient, ongoing practice of noticing, choosing, and loving. If you want the short version to hold in your heart, Romanticism asks us to trust feeling as a path to truth, to imagine deeply, to seek wonder in nature and everyday life, and to place love at the center of our growth. It says the best stories aren't crafted in isolation. They're born from the collision between a restless soul and the world that both challenges and supports it. The result is a life that feels bigger than skin and bone, a life that finds its meaning in the small acts, the brave conversations that change a mood, and the quiet hours when the heart learns to listen. So, if today feels ordinary, maybe it's not a failure but a chance to tune into the romantic rhythm, slow, attentive, hopeful. Go outside and notice how light slides across a wall, how a street musician's tune folds into the breeze, how a whispered confession can soften a stubborn day. Open a book and pause, not just to read words, but to feel the life behind them. And when you find a moment that makes you breathe a little deeper, You've touched a fragment of romanticism, a piece of the long conversation about what it means to be human, to be in love, and to choose meaning over fear. As we end, remember, this is not a history lecture only. It's a map for the heart, drawn with the colors of memory, longing, and tenderness. Romanticism teaches that love can endure not by erasing trouble, but by growing through it, tender, stubborn, and true. And if you ever doubt, look for the next small sign, a shared glance that links, a sunrise that promises another day where love and imagination can coexist, guiding you toward a brighter ending you've always hoped for. What began as a call to feel more felt through art, life, and the everyday continues to light a path today. A path where romance isn't merely a moment, but a practice of paying attention, listening deeply, and choosing the kind of beauty that lasts. And on that path, you might just rediscover the belief that your own story can end with a true and tender happy ending, not because the world changes overnight, but because you choose to keep showing up, to keep loving, and to let your imagination lead the way. If you enjoyed this simple journey into romanticism, share a moment you felt recently where your heart paused to notice something beautiful. Tell a friend about how imagination helped you see your world more kindly. Until next, may your days hold a little more wonder, a little more courage, and a lot of